You feel it sometimes. Late at night, when the world gets quiet and you can't explain why you feel out of place, like you were dropped into the wrong era, like something about modern life doesn't quite fit the shape of you. That feeling has a name, and the answer to it is far stranger than you think. You were built for a world that no longer exists, not metaphorically, not poetically, biologically. The body you are living in right now, its cravings, its fears, its rhythms, its hungers, was designed by a world that vanished roughly 10,000 years ago. Before cities, before agriculture, before calendars and deadlines and fluorescent lights and the low hum of a refrigerator at 2 in the morning, and the gap between that world and this one, that gap is you. That gap is the source of almost every chronic discomfort you cannot name. Anthropologist Richard Wrangham at Harvard spent decades studying the deep past of human behavior. His conclusion: the modern human body is a Pleistocene body, a body built for savannas and rivers and darkness and fire. Not screens, not cubicles, not the particular kind of silence that comes from being surrounded by millions of people and still feeling completely alone. Think about what your life would look like if you had been born at the right time. 10,000 years ago, or 50,000, or 100,000. The number matters less than the lifestyle. You would wake with the sun, not because an alarm forced you to, but because your body was calibrated to light the way a clock is calibrated to gears. Your sleep would not be one long block. Historian and sleep researcher Roger Kirk discovered that before artificial light, humans slept in two distinct phases, with a period of quiet wakefulness in the middle of the night. People used that time to pray, to think, to talk to a partner, to simply exist in the dark without anxiety. Your insomnia is not a malfunction. It is your body trying to follow an ancient program on hardware that no longer supports it. You would move constantly. Not exercise, not the manufactured movement of a gym, but the low-level, continuous, purposeful movement of a body doing what bodies were built to do. Walking miles, carrying things, crouching, climbing. Researchers like anthropologist Herman Pontzer have found that hunter-gatherer groups today, the closest living examples of your ancestors' lifestyle, move far more throughout the day than most modern people, and yet their bodies show none of the chronic inflammation, metabolic syndrome, or cardiovascular decay that quietly builds inside modern humans beginning in their 20s. You were not built to sit. The chair is one of the most radical interventions in human history, and your spine knows it. You would eat differently. Not a diet, just food. Irregular, seasonal, opportunistic, varied. Some days protein-rich and abundant, some days sparse. Your body would handle this easily because it was built for exactly this variability. Instead, you eat at regular intervals because the clock says so. You consume the same foods week after week because they are available and familiar. You are never truly hungry in the animal sense, the way that sharpens attention and heightens senses and makes the world vivid and urgent. The hunger you feel is usually boredom or a blood sugar dip engineered by something you ate an hour ago. You would be cold sometimes, hot sometimes, wet sometimes. Your skin would know wind. Your feet would know uneven ground. Your immune system would know the particular microbial richness of soil and animal and open water. Immunologist Graham Rook coined the term old friends to describe the microorganisms your immune system evolved to expect, the bacteria and parasites and environmental exposures that calibrate your immune response from infancy. Without them, your immune system does not stand down. It finds other targets. It becomes confused. It attacks pollen. It attacks food. It attacks you. This is not a coincidence. This is the oldest story in biology. An organism built for one environment, dropped into another. And unlike most organisms in that situation, you are aware of it. You can feel it. You would belong to a group of roughly 50 to 150 people. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar identified this number as the cognitive limit of meaningful human social connection, the number of people your brain can genuinely track, care about, and maintain relationships with. You would know everyone in your world. You would be known. Your role would be legible. Your value would be obvious. You would make things and fix things and teach things and be needed in ways that did not require a job title or a performance review. Now look at your actual life. You may know hundreds or thousands of people in the loose, digital, modern sense. You may have more acquaintances than any human in history. And yet, the deeper social architecture your brain craves, the small, stable, face-to-face group where you are truly seen, is often missing or fractured. The loneliness epidemic is not a social failure. It is a mismatch. Your brain is running social software designed for a village. And you are living in a city of millions? Your stress response was built for the savannah too. When a predator appeared, your body flooded with cortisol and adrenaline. Your heart rate spiked. Your muscles tensed. Everything non-essential shut down. And then the threat passed. You ran, or you hid, or you fought, or the lion moved on. And within minutes, your nervous system began to recover. The stress was acute, it was physical, and it ended. Your nervous system does not know how to handle a threat that never resolves, a deadline that rolls into another deadline, a debt that doesn't disappear, a social humiliation preserved forever on a server somewhere, accessible at any moment. Your body floods with the same stress hormones your ancestors used to survive predators. But there is nothing to run from, nothing to fight. The cortisol has nowhere to go. And over time, that slow, unresolved simmer of stress is what corrodes you, not in a dramatic way, in a quiet, cumulative, invisible way. This is what researchers like neuroscientist Robert Sapolsky have spent careers documenting. In his landmark work on stress in primates and humans, Sapolsky showed that chronic psychological stress, the kind uniquely available to modern humans, produces biological damage indistinguishable from physical trauma. Your body does not grade the source of the threat. It only knows that the threat has not ended, and it keeps preparing for a fight that never comes. And what about meaning? Your ancestors did not ask whether their lives had purpose. Purpose was built into survival. Finding food was meaningful. Protecting the group was meaningful. Watching a child learn to walk was meaningful in the immediate, unmediated way that no productivity app has yet replicated. Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi spent decades studying what he called flow, the state of deep, absorbed engagement that humans find most satisfying. He found it in hunters and craftspeople and athletes and musicians. He found it almost never in passive consumption. Your brain was built to be used, fully, physically and cognitively and socially at once. And the modern economy has separated those things, parceled them out, and handed you one thin slice at a time. Here is the twist. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are not anxious or scattered or restless because something went wrong with you. You are anxious and scattered and restless because you are working exactly as designed, in an environment your design never anticipated. The sleep that fractures, the appetite that misfires, the longing for a group you cannot name, the boredom that feels like it should be something else, the sense that you were meant to be doing something with your hands, or your body, or your voice, in a way that this particular Tuesday does not allow. That is not failure. That is signal. The question is not how to eliminate the mismatch. You cannot go back. The world that built you is gone, and romanticizing it would be dishonest. That world also contained violence and disease and the specific terror of a bad winter. The question is which ancient signals are worth listening to, which hungers are worth honoring, which parts of the old design still have something to tell you about what you need. Move your body the way it was built to move, not for aesthetics, but because your nervous system needs it to process the world. Sleep in the darkness your brain expects, and stop apologizing for the rhythms that don't match a spreadsheet. Eat food that has a story older than a factory. Find your 50. Find the small group of people who know you the way you were meant to be known. You were not born too late. You were born carrying weight. And tonight, when you feel that strange ache you cannot quite explain, that sense of being almost right, almost home, almost where you were supposed to be, you will know exactly where it comes from. You have always known. Your body never forgot.